I am your mentor, I am your guide. We're going to sit and we're going to discuss what you have. And that was the aim of these one-on-one conferences. It was also observed, based from the feedback from the journals, that this was the preferred type of conferencing style for a vast majority of the students. Why? Because they, especially the ones who were withdrawn, got a chance to get their voices heard. They got a chance to be corrected. And they rather, some of them preferred that than to do working in groups. Peer conferencing. Now, if you notice, it said peer conferencing was used the day after each of these one-on-one conferences. Because the student who was involved with the one-on-one conferencing with the teacher now got his or her opportunity to lead the conference or to lead a conferencing session for themselves. So they now became that coach and that mentor for their peer. Challenges faced in the study. As much as we would love to have everything going our way and to have a smooth and seamless study, we know that that's almost an impossibility. So these are some of the challenges I faced through. One, conferencing can be noisy. When I say noisy, I mean noisy. If we put children in groups of 4, just picture it in your mind. Students are in groups of 4 in your class. You're sharing ideas on a topic. I am in a group. I want my group to do what I am saying. I can guarantee you that if the group is at the back and you're standing here, you're going to hear that group member. And just think about it right along, right along. So it can be noisy, but we need to bear in mind that Pearson 1994 urged that a classroom that is noisy is a classroom that from time to time is productive. Because noise can be productive. It is just that it needs to be controlled. And as the person who is in charge of this class, you are the coach, the facilitator. You will ensure that you go around from time to time to ensure that they are not straying from what the point is. Students had a tendency to get withdrawn in groups. When I chose students at random to be in groups, what we found was that some of the students tended to not make their voices heard. While there's the opposite. There were some students who now dominated group activities. I am in a group and everybody here know that when test results come out, I have the highest scores. This is my group, these points are mine, and this is what we're going to follow. So as a coach, you have to find a way to eliminate these. One-on-one editing conferences took time and didn't allow for some students to be seen. Because if we think about the logics of it, I have a conferencing session for an hour. How many students can I actually look at one by one? How many within the hour? It's 48 of them, and it's only one teacher. Now, some students depended on others to always come up with ideas during group work. We have 2 types of students like that. We have some students who sometimes we refer to as, in our adult life, we call people like these freeloaders. You just sit down and you wait and you hear what the group is doing, then you just log on to it, you write it down and you're gone. Nobody needs to know what I know, I don't need to work. Then we have those who they prefer to use the ideas of others. These persons prefer being led than to lead. Emergent themes from this. Leah and Regina 2008 points to the great influence some students have over their peers. And we see influence, that influence there as the first emergent theme. This was evident in small groups, where some students took charge of the groups, sometimes leading discussions even astray because they have influence over the rest. Whether it is that they are looked up to by their peers, or they themselves believe that they are above them in any particular level. So we find that their influence greatly overwhelms some of the others. Dependence. I found, that opposite to the behavior of dominance was dependence. Some students relied heavily on the views of others rather than on their own. we have growth. As students participated in conferences or conferencing activities, it became apparent that they grew as creative writers. The independent observer at the end of the 12 weeks pointed to improvements in grammar, spelling, and the use of literary devices, such as metaphors, similes, onomatopoeia, and so on. Then trust. A sense of trust developed between the students and the researcher. Peer groups and small groups. Students became more comfortable and felt safe. And this is supported by Smith and Toole 2011, who advocated that students by nature learn best in settings where they felt was mutually respectful and safe. Conclusions. From the study, I have concluded that when students share ideas within a group, it opens new doors of thought for others who are listening, providing a new spin to an already conceived idea and setting off a chain reaction of creative innovation in the minds of group members. Conferences were used to provide students with assistance in how and when to use certain figurative language. In addition, editing conferences had the benefit of allowing students to make necessary corrections to inaccurate grammar. It was also concluded that peer conferences provided the avenue for students to read, analyze, and critique the work of others. Students became keen readers, critics became more reflective, and the shared ideas brought about better quality of work in most cases. Students' willingness to participate in group work has heightened as they anticipate conference-style activities and the opportunity to work collaboratively on assigned tasks. And the task that I showed earlier in the picture gallery was that of a gallery walk. The setting of my classroom did not facilitate a gallery walk, so I modified it to be a gallery look. Because as students, we know the nature of a gallery walk is to have the posters around, and we move from one to the next. However, we were not able to do that. So what happened is that the presenter stood and the students went up, and all the attention from their seat was towards that particular poster at that time. So instead of having a gallery walk, their attention was just drawn to what was on these posters. Varying the conferencing types during each week of the study yielded better results, as the students did not get a chance to get bored with any particular type of conference. So varying or variation, very important. And that's one of the benefits of the conferencing approach. It's not one particular style, but a number of them. Exposing students to the ideas of their peers in conferencing sessions led to more creative content being produced. Recommendations from this study. I would recommend that group conferences need to be monitored by the teacher, or if you're the facilitator in this case, to ensure that harsh criticisms are kept at a minimum within the conference setting. To limit the noise, because remember the first point I made as a challenge was the noise. To limit the noise during conferencing, the teacher should ensure that a supporting task is assigned. Because it was found that when students are hard at work doing something, they found less time to talk. I recommend that students be allowed to read chunks of their work at different intervals to allow for as many of them as possible to get a chance to read and receive feedback. The most highly favored conferencing style is the one-on-one teacher editing conference. Therefore, I recommend that this would transcend just the conferencing time limit that was set, and also be infused into other lessons as well. While students are hard at work, you can take them aside and address any particular issue that needs to be clarified with them. Now, in summary, I can speak to the conferencing approach being helpful in developing the creative writing skills of the students. Students harnessed their creativity, they shared their ideas, they worked collaboratively in groups, they engaged the teacher, who was in this case the coach, and they had fun doing this activity. And I would recommend that the conferencing approach be used in our classrooms regardless of the subject area being taught. Thank you. Any questions at this point?
Yes. Very good, James. I see where you gave us a walk through your actual research. It was well done. A question, with the students at the pre-primary, I want to know if those students really change in their writing approach, because at that level they're able to write like maybe a 1 or 2 sentences at the beginning of your implementation. What was it at the end?
Before I share with you what it was at the end, let me just share that differentiated instruction was applied to these children when I put them in grade-alike groups. So, for example, if we're looking at a day at the beach, instead of asking them to write a composition about a day at the beach, I'll probably say to them, in your group, because what I did, instead of just speaking from the front of the classroom to tell everybody what to do, they got process sheets. So I would give to that group a process sheet and I would go and explain it to them as well. To say, I want you to list, just name 4 things that you will see at the beach. 4 things. And if they are able to come up with 4 things, and then we compile or pool that, then I would say to them, can you put that in a sentence? And as a group, they would try to infuse what they had and to try to make a sentence. What I found now, at the end, was that some of these students, because if you notice from there, had 1 at the primer and 2 at grade 1. At the grade 1 level, they were able to make simple sentences. So being a part of that group, that primer level student was now able to help to construct simple sentences. The objective was not to see if the child could spell only, but can you write creatively? So less emphasis was placed on proper spelling, but more on constructing a sentence. Because just like GSAT mark, when they're marking the task, surface errors like spelling, punctuation would just take 1 mark. You can't be marking them down for every incorrect spelling. So we saw where growth occurred as they were able to transcend from just listing to making simple, short sentences. Any other question?
Jason, let me first of all commend you for a great presentation.
Thank you.
One question in relation to the student journal. Do you have anything in place for students who may have expressed anything too personal in relation to their own life experiences? Did you have anything in place for that if that happened?
Okay. Originally, I didn't look at it from that light. But what I did was that whatever they wrote in the journals had a parameter. Because I emphasized to them that from the start, every day that you were given the task to write in a free writing journal, it would be a 10-minute period where you're going to write about the day's activities. Or what did you like about today's conferencing lesson? What didn't you like? So I gave them a wide parameter. However, I did not leave them to just freely write anything. It was not a diary per se, but a journal.
At the grade 6 level, I know that you teach other subject areas. Right. Is conferencing, or did you try to use conferencing in any other subject area? And if so, what was the result?
Okay, in fact I did. I use conferencing in particular because conferencing can be used to get out content. So I used it in a content-based subject like, for example, social studies. We're doing solar system. There are 8 planets. I used 8 groups. Each group having to write about a particular planet. Read aloud conferences now allow the groups to share, and from that the entire class benefited. Group 1 you did Mercury. Group 8 they did Uranus or Neptune. Now in sharing you're picking up points or you're picking up information about these. So I found that it was very helpful and I used it in other areas as well.
Yes, Jason, I really liked your presentation, but I'd like to know what was the feedback from the other teachers at your institution?
The feedback, the documented feedback, was from an independent observer who was a teacher at the institution. And when I looked at growth, I had mentioned that in the 3rd phase, in the 3rd observation, because I asked that person to come in at 3 times, the start, the middle, and the end. At the start, they saw, just as I did, that the gap in the ability of the students extremely wide, going to be challenging. Midway, observation, as noted, the observer keenly identified that some students were seen to be developing or to grow. And in the end, that observer, same way, documented by saying there is evidence, huge amounts of evidence to show that children have actually moved from one phase to the next. Other colleagues at the school, they gave their informal opinions about the conferencing approach. Not all positive. Some saying class is noisy. Some saying at least the children are engaged. Some saying I see some students who are not working. So there was a variety of responses, but mostly for the positive. That's it. All right, thank you very much.
Yes,